Alfred slowly rose and crouched down in front of the pile of bottles and ashtrays he had knocked over on the table earlier. Then he took an unopened wine bottle that was rolling on the floor and set it at the center of the table. What have I done? My mind's gone blank at this sudden love call. It makes me think becoming friends with you wouldn't be so bad. However, I would like a little time to settle my heart on this. Sorry, even I think it's embarrassing that I can't answer you right now. I don't mind. You're you, but you are also the boss of the Alfred family. You probably need to hear the thoughts of your underlings as well. Richard calmly looked at the men surrounding him. However, their answer was clear. After all, the top family in City 23 has some calling with incredibly favorable conditions. Had come calling. After all, these underworld dropouts who hadn't joined Primavera had been granted equal status. They all had red cheeks, like a Cinderella who'd just been proposed to. The next moment, Alfred's lightning-fast knife was out of his pocket. Wayne put his hand on his gun in his pocket at the same instant, but then he stopped. He's just opening it up. Jesus. It certainly was a knife, but it was a blade. Its blade was folded down. It was a multi-purpose knife. Right now, the corkscrew was extended instead of the knife part. As fast as ever, I see. You haven't lost the touch. Please wait for my answer on whether I become a friend or not. But right now, I feel like sharing a drink with you. I'd be happy to. You should join us, Wayne. I'll be in the car. Who, Mr. Wayne? I didn't know you were old enough to drink. I'm an adult. This time everyone roared with laughter, even the underlings. Alfred dexterously removed the cork, then put the bottle to his mouth and drank. And then after a big gulp, he handed it to Richard. I never thought a day like this would come. Life is funny. Ha ha ha. I agree. Living and building a future is such an amusing thing. Fuck him, though. Unironically. Fuck Alfred. I don't trust him in the slightest. A car stopped in front of the park. Richard was the one who came out. Please take the money back to my office. Good work today. I can't believe Alfred didn't take the money. He's a faithful man. He has a cute side to him, don't you think? Alfred hadn't accepted the attaché case with money. That money was supposed to be a sign of their friendship, so he said he couldn't take it while he was still pondering his answer. Wayne had half believed that crazy Alfred was a lizard in human form. He wasn't a person who could even talk normally with, much less become friends with. That's what he had believed. Never imagined you'd be able to sweet-talk that crazy man. Guess this is the power of money, or is it because of your talent? Not at all. It's because of Yuji. What? Question marks. Titties. He spotted Yuji and Stella among the kids playing in the park. Wayne never paid Yuji much attention, but he remembered him well as the baby who could do nothing but cry 2 years ago. However, Yuji was now playing in the sandbox with all the other kids. He was able to display his self-will, take action on his own, annoy Stella, and even make her laugh. To Wayne, it had just been 2 years. Nothing in particular had changed. However, to a baby, those 2 years are so incredibly packed, he couldn't help but sigh in surprise. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, you're talking about such a long time for a fucking baby. Like, so he's gonna learn language in that time, he's gonna learn walking, like, it's crazy how much he'll learn. During these 2 years, it's become clear to me that knowing how to care for children is helpful for knowing the human world. You think I'm just talking about how to care for a baby? Not at all. Why is he crying? What doesn't he like? Why is he happy? And what does he want from me? I mean, usually he's hungry. There will be no greater training for interpersonal relations than trying to make sense of a baby's ahs and oohs. This help during today's negotiation? People are children no matter how old they get, especially if they're single. When you're able to understand how children feel, you naturally become able to understand how even adults think and how to soothe them. That's Richard for you. Treating even crazy Alfred like a kid. Then you also learn how meaningless it is to make enemies. When I was alone, it didn't matter how many enemies I made. However, that changes when you're able to protect someone. If I had taken Crazy Alfred's invitation and started a feud, what if they had tried to steal the thing most precious to me in revenge? I don't even want to think about it. It's so easy to attack and cause harm. But in these 2 years, he'd personally experienced how hard it was to protect, especially when protecting someone other than yourself. As you gain more things that are precious to you, you become less able to pick fights. And then naturally, it led me thinking that I'd rather have Alfred as a friend. Richard hadn't sought friendship with Alfred for some tactical reason regarding the underworld and balance of power. Part of him truly wanted to repair his relationship with Crazy Alfred. That's why Richard's proposal of friendship had Alfred so flustered. As a villain among villains, he had seen the eyes of scum many times. For that reason, he must have sensed something in Richard's eyes that he had never seen before. Do you think today would have gone badly if you hadn't raised Yuji? I believe so. You'll probably be blessed with a child too someday. Then you'll understand. Yeah, his grandson's fucking epic. Though I doubt a wild wolf like me will ever find a partner. Everyone says that when they're young. Even Stella has been saying it wouldn't be so bad to get married lately. Find love, young man. It's about time I started hearing your stories. Well, he did go out and have 3 kids, though. What? Is that true? What? So Wayne gets married? How else would I have gotten born? What? Did you think I sprouted out of a potted plant? No, not at all. Yeah. Even Wayne managed to get married. Well, I still don't even have a boyfriend. Femcel. A policy of bachelorhood is the final rebellious stage young people have, and one they ought to get over quickly. In other words, even he became an adult in the end. When Toritago brought in tea and mentioned that Wayne had had 3 kids, Julie was astonished. This meant actually that there was one question she had to ask. Who did he marry? Who did he get in? So wait, no, I mean, Advisor Uehara, who did he end up marrying? Well, that's something I can't just tell you directly. What a shame. If you'd registered with my invitation ID, I'd be able to tell you. I will, I'll do it soon. Just at least tell me the girl has shown up in the store yet. At that moment, there was a knock at the door, and a person in question's voice drifted in. Madam, forgive me for intruding while you're talking. Too bad, Julie. I'll have to wait until later. Ah, dang. Advisor Uehara, why do you have to walk in then? I'll be taking my leave then. If Alfred agrees, then we practically have Davis on the cutting board. Dropping block. Wayne's car sped off. Stella had probably already noticed Richard's arrival. Didn't you have work today, brother? I just finished. I just happened to be in the area, so I decided to drop by. Consigliere, isn't it a bit dangerous to be out without guards? Oh, who might you be? He's a new friend of mine. He says he's with Maurice. Oh, from battalion. Do you have the day off? It's my job to get called by them whenever it's convenient for him. That sounds difficult. I'll have to tell Maurice to show some more consideration for his subordinates. Yuji seemed to be totally comfortable around Keith. Though Yuji was supposedly shy, he treated Keith like family. Because he saw this, Richard wasn't suspicious of Keith, even though they were meeting for the first time. Come on, Yuji, Papa's back. Say welcome back, Papa, okay? No! Yuji, if you say welcome back, Papa, Papa will be happy. Come on, come on, come on. When Keith tickled Yuji, the kid giggled and wriggled and grabbed onto Keith's leg. Yuji, it's getting chilly out. Shall we go home? No! You still haven't played enough. I'll play. He really likes you. He looks forward to meeting you at the park every day. For a while, Yuji sumo wrestled with Keith's leg, but the sandbox suddenly caught his attention and he ran away. Finally released from the child typhoon, Stella sighed. He really is fickle. His interests shift from one thing to another. He keeps getting more self-centered. I'm barely hanging in there. When you try to feed him, he says no. When you try to change his clothes, he says no. King. He keeps saying no whenever adults say something, even though he used to be so obedient. I hear that's called developing his self-will. When they're born, there's nothing more than animals that eat. They're nothing more than animals that eat and sleep. But then they get self-will. I think it's incredible. I hear this guy's had to take care of little brothers in his hometown, all of whom were much younger than him. Our family had a lot of kids. For me, it was just normal to take care of my little brothers while carrying a baby on my back. That explains it. I was noticing how good you were at playing with Yuji. I love kids after all. They hold the chance to make any dream come true. So much fun to imagine the limitless future for these kids. I agree that it's both exciting and worrying to wonder how these kids will grow and what sort of future they'll face. That's what I love about kids. With these kids, I'm sure we have a good shot at turning this crappy country into one where neighbors truly help each other. Children are the treasures of a nation. I understand that now. Even though he had been clinging to Stella and Keith so much a second ago, Yuji was now happily engrossed with playing by himself in the sandbox. It was tiring to hover about him all the time, but it was a bit lonely to see him start playing off on his own. Sheesh. His energy really is inexhaustible. So lately, Stella had been busier than she'd ever been before. At night, she attended association establishment meetings as Rose's representative, and she played with Yuji all day, every day, caring for him. With every day so excessively busy, Stella might have been wearing out a bit. Her long hair, which she'd once cared for diligently, like it was a work of art, had now become damaged by the sun and dirtied with dust. However, her smile shone more brightly than any she had worn as a lady of the evening. As the three of them gazed at Yuji, they sat down on a bench. That's right, there was something I wanted to ask the consigliere. That depends on the question, but ask away. I totally respect what Madame Rose is aiming for. After all, the old Japanese spirit of mutual support is a lie, was all fake. What harsh criticism. They called it mutual support, but it was the old folks swindling the young. They're envious of the diligent and successful. Anyone who didn't stand side by side everyone else was ostracized. If you step forward, they'd push you. And if you were too slow, they'd still push you. They're jealous, scornful, the worst parts of humanity. That's what the Japanese truly are. I've experienced it so much, I'm sick of it. He says he had a really tough time in the Siberian prison camp. He saw betrayal by his countrymen, ruthless treatment, and the deaths of several young people. How sad. And did that lead you to losing hope in your countrymen? Less losing hope and more being disillusioned. Well, everything turned to ash, you could say. That's why it was basically a relief when the great disaster occurred and the whole world was crushed. Then Madame Rose appeared, and she's trying to build a society where people truly help each other out. There's no one who cares for their countrymen more than that girl. You always hear company presidents and politicians say they'll raise wages, but none of them have been able to do that. That girl has made that dream come true, and without any thought of personal gain. Though unfortunately her efforts were crushed by outside forces who were not amused. Yeah, because she's not working in a vacuum, which is the whole problem with like ideologues and any kind of political institution. But Rose didn't give up. Right now, she's trying to build up ramparts to hold off those outside forces. America, China, Japan. She's trying to take that three-way deadlock with one clear loser and skillfully manipulate it to bring stability to the city. I'm sure now, after working close to her, I should have started helping her sooner. I'm ashamed of myself this past year, complaining that she was so hooked on playing gangs with Brother and Cyrus that she never helped out at the club. The Davis problem will be resolved soon. Once the association's establishment has been decided upon, the weight should be lifted from Rose's shoulder. I won't humiliate myself like I did that day. All the documents and numbers must have beaten into my brain. I don't care whether they're American or Chinese merchants. Now that I'm in charge of this, I won't let them make me quit. Of course, the Mayugi siblings are ready. We will most certainly bring about the results Rose desires. Huh? You two are surprisingly fired up. I thought you'd be more cold. Negotiations are fistfights with words. Even Rose was stepping into the ring, firing off sharp word jabs, like everyone else. Exchanging those fiery word jabs, while simultaneously delivering cold, ruthless joint attacks, is the Mayugi siblings' specialties. As long as Japan's side remains united, there's nothing more to stand in our way. We'll quickly get our act together, and let everyone know that the last time we won to come aboard definitely stands to lose. Oh, you're pretty cool when you're fiery, Stella. Both of you respect Madame Rose from the bottom of your hearts, don't you? But of course. Please talk to Rose yourself if you get the chance. No, I mean you should definitely talk to her. Otherwise, you won't know how serious she is. Well, I'm just a single foot soldier. But still, yeah. If I get the chance, I'll do that. After all, I get a chance to meet someone as incredible as the Consigliere. Of course I wanted to talk about this. Come to think of it, you had a question for me, didn't you? Let's hear it. This ideal society Madame Rose is aiming for. Do you really think it can be made real? Of course it can. I mean, we're going to do it, so it can be done. It is possible, that I can promise you. Is it probable? No. Oh, sorry, I wasn't doubting that. That's not what I meant. I mean, will this ideal society be there for us to see while we're still alive? Oh, no, fuck that. Stella tried hard to respond, but she had trouble sorting out what she would say. It rose to her lips, and she then swallowed down several times. As Richard watched this, he grinned and answered. If you're asking that, then I believe you've already reached an answer. And here's a different question. Will Yuji be able to see that ideal society? Maybe. I would like for it to come true during Yuji's generation. However, I'm not so optimistic as to believe that it will happen. I hope that I can entrust our ideals to Yuji, so that will be passed down to our countrymen in the future. Yeah, that's the most truthful answer. What you're doing right now is not building an ideal society. We're not doing. We're making preparations so that our countrymen in the future will inherit that will, power, and privileges necessary to take up that job. Then they can start trying to build it. I see. That is my honest answer. Did you find it unsatisfactory? No, not at all. It's the other way around. I didn't think you'd talk about it so honestly. After all, there's a lot of swindlers out there these days, talking about fake ideals. As he said this, Keith rose to his feet. I once thought the Japanese should be swallowed up by the Americans and Chinese and disappear. But that thought's gone away completely. How could we ever let them swallow us up? That's yet another reason we must help each other as we live. We must have the people understand that this is the only way to protect our culture and traditions in the future. We must not be destroyed. I'm certain we will be reborn as a resilient Japanese people and survive. Yeah, if we get destroyed now, that won't be any fun. I'm starting to think it's worth fighting one more time to pave the way to the future for those kids playing over there. Thanks, Keith. I feel the same. That's why I quit as a lady of the evening. After quitting, I've been thinking, it's so boring to work only for your own sake. Now I'm living life to the fullest, because I know how wonderful it is to be able to fight for our future countrymen, and for Yuji. Yuji and the kids playing in this park, they're that ideal society of ours, where people help each other. And I am certain that they will pass on their future countrymen the strength and resilience needed to avoid being swallowed up by formidable foreign powers. I've decided. I've just made the big decision that I'll stick with Primavera forever. Sometimes I've sort of thought I might get won over by some other group offering better treatment. But starting today, I've decided to work for Primavera alone. I'm glad I'll get a chance to continue working with you. I'm sure Rose will be glad as well. Thanks. I feel the same. It's an honor to have such a promising comrade. Gonna think of it. I still haven't heard your name. It's Keith Kisaragi. I've been doing some big work with Captain Butler lately. I sure hope word of it's reaching your ears, consigliere. Oh, that was you. I have heard of it. Maurice introduced you as their most talented sniper. A sniper? Now that's a surprise. You're an expert with guns. Well, I did hear you were the best sniper among the 7 heroes, Stella. You're joking. That rumor's a lie. Leo would be laughing at me. Keith, it pleases me to hear such reassuring words from you. Allow me to thank you in Madame Rose's place as consigliere. I'm glad I had a chance to speak with you. I would like to speak with you again if the chance presents itself. However, this meeting of ours a coincidence? Guess you figured it out. I did meet Stella and Yuji here by coincidence. Then I figured if I stopped by here regularly, I might get a shot at meeting the consigliere someday. I'm pretty ambitious. I was hoping to sell myself a bit more, make it big, and start raking in the dough. Keith scratched his head, laughed without any trace of shyness. Even though he had been plotting something dodgy, he confessed openly. That suddenly changing attitude was typical of Keith. Is it? Well, an honest young man. I can't say I dislike your sort. Great. I get pretty serious about the kinds of people I can get along with and those I can't. Very well, once your current job is finished, why don't I invite you to the pasta gathering in honor of your service? Pasta gathering? You mean the rumored meeting of Primavera execs? Well, it does seem to have become that somewhere down the line. At the moment, being invited to participate in that is considered Primavera's highest honor, I believe. And I'd like to introduce you to Rose and Meryl. If you can form an acquaintance with the other bosses, your status in the family will rise. You should be able to find better treatment and better jobs. Normally, the pasta gathering could only be attended by those of crew boss status or higher. However, people who were being granted a special honor would sometimes be allowed to participate just once. This sort of special invitation to a pasta gathering was like receiving a medal in Primavera at the time. The bosses would be forced to honor to the ones whose participation had been granted and acknowledge their status. Of course, this meant the bosses would get a chance to see them up close, which left plenty of opportunity for advancement. In some cases, it was even possible for people to be transferred to a different crew, where they would be given a higher rank. Even those 3 wandering dogs who had been once granted this honor has now moved on to separate crews, where they receive special treatment. Good! Oliver had been regained his lost respect in the Wild Dogs and was now serving at Wayne's side. By now, he had been entrusted with a section of Wayne's turf, becoming a mid-level leader with subordinates of his own. Charles had transferred to the Rich Bombo, while working as an apprentice dealer. It was said he learned several things behind the scenes as the boss's pet project. His talent had been acknowledged by those around him, and it was hoped he would grow to someday serve as the boss's right-hand man. Epic. Nina had gained respect with Meryl's faction and was now allowed to serve as an attendant to a famous high-class girl, where she repeatedly came into contact with the executives. Oh god, both at the same time? Also, it was rumored that she was Madame Meryl's confidant, and she had even enough respect that no one made fun of her dialect anymore. What? I'm getting fired up. Hope we learn where our target's hiding soon. Fear not, we'll learn his location shortly. Is this a conversation I should pretend I never heard? It's about Davis Dagawa. This young man and his partner, Alan, are experts in battalion-style negotiations. Would those negotiations happen to come with the pop of a champagne cork? Ah, I like that metaphor. Now there's a former woman of the evening business for you. Even your examples are fancy. So pasta gathering is a reward. I can't stop shaking with excitement. Wonder when we'll hear about the hideout. Alfred's a plain man. I doubt it'll take long to hear his answer. At best, it may come tonight. It'll probably be tomorrow. One of those you wait, 24 hours. Mama, where's Mama? What could have happened? Yuji had suddenly started crying. Apparently, he had fallen and scraped his knee slightly. Stella and Keith rushed forward and Yuji... Stella and Keith rushed forward and Yuji jumped at them, grabbing onto their legs. They calmed him down, getting his spirits up, saying it wasn't a wound worth crying over. Richard couldn't help but smile at the scene in front of him. Keith, if you're interested, would you mind coming to eat with us now? Yuji will be happy. Please come if you want to. Thanks for the offer, but I'm on call for that job right now. Well, I believe the first news that will reach me before it even reaches your boss, yes? Ah, right. Did you hear that, Yuji? Big brother Keith says he'll eat with us. Giggling. Yuji, I'm gonna put my life on the line fighting for you. Thanks to Yuji, we 3 single people have found a family. It's all thanks to him. Thank you, Yuji. Sounds like we even get to eat together today. Pretty cool, huh? Giggling. Keith. Thanks, Yuji. What could possibly go wrong?